Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. In the evolving world of global finance, transformations rarely happen in the blink of an eye. Often, they unfold quietly, gradually, behind the scenes, shaped by decisions made in boardrooms, central banks, and multilateral institutions. What we're seeing in Iraq is part of that broader transformation, a deep, systemic shift in the country's financial and banking infrastructure that, while not entirely visible on the surface just yet, is undeniably underway. It's not something that can be pinned down to a specific date. Whether it will happen tonight, tomorrow, or in the coming weeks remains uncertain. But what is clear is that the wheels have already been set in motion. The foundation has been laid, and the pieces are steadily falling into place. The Iraqi government, in close coordination with its central bank, the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, has publicly acknowledged that it has begun the process of overhauling its banking sector. These are not just minor policy updates or tweaks to interest rates. These are sweeping reforms, comprehensive in scope and ambitious in scale, aimed at repositioning Iraq as a financially competitive and internationally connected economy. What makes this especially noteworthy is that these reforms have been initiated not just on a domestic level, but on an international level as well. In other words, Iraq isn't simply modernizing its systems for internal use, it is aligning its financial architecture with global standards, making itself interoperable with international markets, institutions, and digital frameworks. At the heart of these reforms is a move toward digitization, a keyword that now resonates across almost every central banking discussion worldwide. Iraq is now openly talking about digital currencies, not in the speculative sense that many associate with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but in the context of sovereign, central bank-issued digital currencies, CBDCs. This is a serious, institutional conversation, spearheaded by people who understand the inner workings of modern monetary systems. And chief among those voices is the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Ali Mohsen al-Alak, a man who has repeatedly emphasized the importance of digital integration within the financial system. Al-Alak's comments are not made in a vacuum. As a central banker, his job is to position Iraq's financial system in such a way that it can withstand economic pressures, facilitate efficient monetary policy, and provide the kind of secure and credible banking infrastructure that fosters investor confidence and economic growth. His repeated focus on digital currencies is not just a reflection of a trend, it's an indication of where the future of central banking is headed. Across the globe, central banks from China to the European Union, from the United States to smaller economies like the Bahamas, are exploring or already implementing digital currencies. These initiatives are aimed at enhancing transparency, increasing transaction speed, reducing costs, and improving cross-border payment systems. In Iraq's case, the introduction of a digital currency, often referred to as the digital dinar, is expected to serve several important functions. Firstly, it can help bring a largely cash-based and informal economy into a more regulated and visible framework. This would reduce the scope for illicit finance, improve tax collection, and enhance the government's ability to enact effective monetary policy. Secondly, it would integrate Iraq into the rapidly evolving global financial ecosystem, one that increasingly demands transparency, interoperability, and digital traceability. Cross-border payments, in particular, are a focal point of this transformation. Iraq's traditional reliance on legacy banking systems has made international transactions slow, costly, and cumbersome. Digital transformation, including the adoption of blockchain and real-time settlement systems, aims to resolve these issues. Cross-border payments are an area where innovation is not just desired, it's imperative. The existing system, reliant on correspondent banks and SWIFT messages, is notoriously slow and expensive, particularly for developing economies. It can take days for payments to settle, and fees often consume a significant portion of the remitted amount. This is especially problematic for a country like Iraq, where remittances, trade payments, and financial aid transfers represent a vital part of the economic equation. With a digital dinar that is tied into an internationally accepted framework, such as ISO 20022 messaging standards or even newer decentralized ledger technologies, Iraq could vastly improve the efficiency and cost-effectiveness of these transactions. Moreover, Iraq's participation in international forums and its dialogue with major institutions such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the World Bank, and regional central banks suggests that this isn't a solo endeavor. Iraq is being guided and advised by global experts who understand the intricacies of transitioning to a modern financial system. This also means there is accountability, structure, and planning behind the scenes, even if public-facing announcements are relatively restrained. One of the key lessons from other countries' journeys into the digital finance space is that these things take time. They require legal frameworks, robust cybersecurity protocols, infrastructure investments, and above all, public trust. Change, of course, is never easy, especially in a country with a history of conflict, corruption, and economic volatility. Skepticism is natural, and so is caution. But the direction is unmistakable. Iraq is pushing forward, investing in digital infrastructure, developing policies that support innovation, and slowly dismantling the outdated financial practices that have held back its economic potential for years. While some may remain doubtful, the indicators are there. Local banks are being connected to international platforms. Regulations are being rewritten. Pilot programs are being launched. The digital dinar is being tested. These are not rumors or speculation. They are documented steps being taken by the government and the CBI. In summary, Iraq is not standing still. It is evolving, quietly, steadily, and deliberately. The statements made by Al-Alak and others are not just talk. They reflect an ongoing process that involves deep restructuring of the financial system, heavy investment in digital tools, and alignment with international norms. The digital dinar is not a fantasy. It is a real project that is being rolled out with clear intent. And while we can't say for sure when the full impact will be felt, the direction of travel is unmistakable. Iraq is modernizing. And like it or not, the world is changing with it. Thanks for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.